So Nala, why do you feel like I'm a single mother?
I mean, you pretty, but you fuss too much.
Nala, I guess you gonna be a single mother too then.
I ain't gonna be no single mother like mama.
What? What's wrong with being a single mother?
I ain't finna mess around with no 3 kids.
Okay, why do you think I'm a single mom?
Because you work for free.
I work for free. I work Monday through Friday, and how do you feel like I work for free?
Because you broke.
Alrighty. Now, last not least now, don't say nothing crazy. But why do you feel like I'm a single mom?
Because you don't be yourself.
How do you feel like I don't be myself?
That's not even
your real hair.
I can wear a wig if I want to.
Yeah, but without a wig, you like a grown man.
This is probably why a lot of us grew up with children should be seen and not heard. Them kids was raw, but they were truthful as far as their perspective of what they see. The young girl said she ain't gonna be a single mother because her mama fussed too much. And then the other little boy, her brother, was like, well, hell, you gonna be a single mother too. But then she was offended by the idea of being a single mother. And, you can't blame these kids. You can't blame the kids. They're only telling you what they see. The second little boy, he was saying that she's always broke. And so she must work for free since she doesn't have any money. And I'll admit, I used to feel that way about my mom sometimes until I saw that she had cash in her purse. And I figured she was lying. But I didn't know she was using that money to pay the bills. But the kid's perspective. And then the last one was like, because you fake. You're not being yourself. You look like a man when you ain't got no wig on. I was just talking to my wife about the fact that most people wouldn't be able to handle the perspective that other people have about them. And that's the main thing about this video that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Have you ever asked a group of people, not just one person, but a group of people, what is their perspective of you? Because oftentimes we can't see ourselves. We only see what we think we are projecting. But yet, oftentimes we are projecting to other people something that is completely opposite or something that we didn't consider. And when it comes to children are going to be raw with it. Yes, they lack certain amounts of maturity and information, but that innocence tells you a lot. The little girl is saying that she fussed too much. That the reason why she can't keep a man or have a man or their father is not around is because she does too much fussing. But yet the little girl must be picking up on that because the little brother is like, you fuss too. So you're going to be a single mother. And although she doesn't want to be one, she's picking up the habit. So we have to be mindful of what we display to our children. Otherwise, they will end up in the same situations that we find ourselves in that we are trying to teach them to avoid. That's a difficult thing to do. And one of the only ways to do that is to get the raw data, to get that information. There's been a few times in my life where I've gathered people that I trusted, people that I know would tell me the truth and not try to placate my feelings or try to hurt me, but actually tell me the truth of how the world perceives me. Oftentimes it's not pretty. Few times I felt some kind of way. I got all up into my emotions. But then after I sat back and I thought about those things. And do you have enough within yourself to push down that anger part of you? Oftentimes we represent that as the ego, but push that down and really look at and say, are they speaking truth about me? And you know the hardest time to do that is when you're in a relationship with someone. Can you ask your partner to give you an honest assessment of who you are? And then based on that assessment, will you receive it or will you get defensive and try to push it away and defensive and and get angry about it, try to convince them that their perception of you is wrong. But you have to remember, they are perceiving you how they see you. They are perceiving you how their emotions are translating what you are giving to them. Oftentimes, when I'm working with couples, I do this in different formats to demonstrate whether or not the couple recognizes what's really going on in the relationship between the two people and how they perceive things. There's an exercise that I often like to do, and this is just one of many. Let me demonstrate it for you. You see how that just magically appeared? So this is him, this is her. I give each one of them the same drawing. And I tell them to draw a line down the middle. I asked her, what are the things that you believe are bringing you guys closer together? And then I asked her, what are the things that he does that you believe brings you guys closer together? So these things might be dating, gifts, consideration, making the bed, doing the laundry. It could be anything, whatever it is that has meaning to that individual. But this is hers, and she's saying, these are the things that I do, these are the things that he does that brings us together. Then I asked them to write down the things that are taking them away from each other that she's doing, and the things that are taking them away from each other that he's doing. So she'll write that down based on her perspectives. Then in this, she'll write down what does she believe he's doing that distracts within the relationship, and what are the things she does that she thinks that are distracting her within the relationship. Now, here's the key. The key is when I bring these two together after they've done this exercise. And most of the time, she will write something here that he's doing that's bringing them farther apart that he wrote that he thinks is bringing them closer together. You understand that? She thinks that, oh, he does XYZ. And XYZ, I feel like that takes us further apart. But he was writing that XYZ is bringing them together. Like, he might say that him working overtime brings financial gain into the house so that they have more financial security and there's less stress, and that brings them closer together. While she is, on the other hand, saying that him working in the overtime and not being home is actually pulling them further apart from each other. So there's a miscommunication that's going on in there. He will do the same thing, or something that they think is taking them apart actually is bringing one of them together. And so it usually works out in that format. The other thing is what he sees as a distraction for her, she may not see it as a distraction and see it as one of the things that's bringing them closer together, and vice versa. It works in that format. So this is one of the honest ways that couples can see what's going on within the relationship and see if they're able to relate to one another, to see if they are on the same line of communication. But oftentimes we find things that are hurting the relationship that the other person is doing, that the other person thinks is bringing them closer together. It's a base level of honesty that could help you develop within your relationships if you're willing and honestly willing to do this. There was one couple that I did this with, and they got angry with each other. They didn't have the emotions to be able to handle the information. And so then we had to work on the fact of how they receive information from one another. They wanted their partner to think of them in the best light always, all the time. But that's just not reasonable, and that's not possible. Your mate does have things about you that they don't like. You have things about them that you don't like. They may think that that thing is bringing you guys closer together when that thing is actually pushing you further apart. And to recognize some of those distractions and what the other person sees as a distraction is also very helpful in the growth of the relationship. So are you strong enough to do this? If so, let me know what your results were. Let me know how it went for you. And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.